Today we're going to find out how good or bad an Aerodactyl would be if it was given the Dragon typing in Generation 1 of Pokemon. This is arguably the biggest stretch in this series so far, where we've already run a Charizard and a Gyarados with the Dragon typing, but those Pokemon, both by design and in terms of mythology, make a lot more sense. And yet for some reason, Aerodactyl has always been a major member of Lance's Dragon Pokemon team. Now, some have suggested it's because its tail and wings make it look like a wyvern, but for me personally, I always thought that this was a pterodon. The fact that Game Freak has always put this Pokemon on Lance's team over a far more deserving Pokemon like Charizard, I guess we have to kind of treat it like it's a dragon. But that might not actually be a good thing for this Pokemon. You see, so far we've seen pretty mixed results, where Charizard was significantly better with the dragon typing, and yet Gyarados wasn't really improved at all. Aerodactyl, on the other hand, might be the first Pokemon that we see where adding the dragon typing is an actual detriment to this Pokemon, making it significantly worse in a full game solo run. Because sure, we lose our weakness to water and electric type moves, and we get extra resistance to fire types, but there's a problem. Aerodactyl does not learn a single rock type move in Generation 1. In fact, its only same type moves are flying type, and otherwise its strongest moves are all normal type. It doesn't even have the coverage to really deal with rock type Pokemon. But we also add some critical weaknesses, especially to the ground type, where we're going to be dealing with a lot of late game earthquakes. This Pokemon could turn out to be absolutely terrible. Well, in order to find out, I did a full game run with a normal Aerodactyl and then compared it to 2 test runs with this Dragon Rock type Aerodactyl to find out once and for all if the Dragon type is actually good in Gen 1. So as the third run in a 4-part series, let's review the rules. In this series, we are replacing the Pokemon's secondary typing with the Dragon type, so in this case, Aerodactyl becomes a Rock Dragon Pokemon. All other aspects of their movesets are going to remain completely unchanged. They're just going to get the same moves that they would normally learn throughout the game. The Pokemon will be compared to its unaltered form in terms of time, in terms of final level, and in terms of score on my tier listing system. Because there could be cases where, for example, the Pokemon might take fewer resets to beat the game, but have to rely more on TMs since it doesn't have as many same type attacking moves. So we're just going to have to see how it actually pans out. All of my other standard solo running rules apply. We're not going to use items in battle, we're going to run on 0 DVs or 0 IVs for those coming from later gens, so that we know that we're running the weakest possible version of this Pokemon. We're going to ban stat boosting vitamins like protein and carbos, though we will allow rare candies only when we get to the league. I will avoid taking optional battles unless they're actually necessary, but in those cases, I will be leveling up to the next damage rounding threshold. If you don't know about damage rounding thresholds, it's basically every time you have a level that ends in 0, 3, 5, or 8, the damage that's done by the Pokemon goes up by a little bit more in those particular levels. Now I predict that Dragon Aerodactyl is going to be much worse than a normal Aerodactyl, but tell me down in the comments what you guys think. With that, let's get into it. Hello and what's up, RBY Pokemon Challenges fam? How are you guys doing? We're doing the kind of optimized run. I can't say it's perfectly optimized, but it's more optimized than the previous run with a Dragon Aerodactyl. Dractyl is getting its one last shot with the new overlay. I just think this will make things more consistent with the other videos that I put out. So let's do it. Anyway, we can see Aerodactyl normally it ranks 14th in terms of base stats in Gen 1. It's really not that bad. It's got that massive crit rate, sitting at 25%. It's due to 130 base speed, but then it doesn't really have anything else other than attack. HP is kind of meh, defense really meh, specials really meh. When we're talking about a Pokemon of this caliber, and then we've got the slow level up rate, so that's obviously going to be a bad situation. And we are a Rock Dragon Pokemon for this one, but this raises some problems, actually. I predict no matter how much I try to sit here and optimize this Pokemon, it's going to be the worst of these, like, type change dragons. And it all comes down to the fact that it loses all of its same type attack bonuses. It has no same type moves in Gen 1. Look at that level up moveset. It starts with Wing Attack, which is only 35 base power and doesn't get the same type attack bonus at the start of the game. It's going to get Bite, Takedown, and a Hyper Beam via level up, so none of those really help us. It's going to learn Fly, which is usually one of its strongest moves, but yet again, just does nothing for us. Then we can just move on through the moveset, right? Everything is basically normal type or flying type, with the exception of Fire Blast. We can learn Fire Blast, but do we want to? I'm not sure. I mean, remember, we're paying attention to this Pokemon stats here, and that's a 60 base special. So Fire Blast, while yes, it could be useful, I guess, against Jinx on Lorelai's team, that's really the only situation that I can think of. The rest of the time, we would be better off relying on our bigger attack stat, I think, than that measly little special stat. Maybe against Cloyster, it could also be a good play. We'll have to find out. But anyway, this is Dragon Aerodactyl, and what's up, guys? I am back. It's good to see you. So there is Dactyl. He gets caught by Professor Oak very nicely, and we can immediately take him home. We can say, yeah, you can have an Eevee, buddy. I'm getting a Dactyl. Oh, I went to the garbage can. Sorry, I was already ready to throw my Pokemon in the garbage. Oh man, Dactyl, you're so bad. But here we go. Rival 1, not a problem. This is one of the fights that we are perfectly fine for. We're just going to spam Wing Attack. But I believe normally it's at least a 3-hit KO here with a normal Aerodactyl. And it's because it has a stab bonus. It's 1.5x Wing Attack, which of course means that it's much stronger in the early game. And this even rears its head as early as Brock. Like, you wouldn't think the Brock split is too different. You're still, you know, a rock type Pokemon, not taking massive damage from his tackles and whatnot, but at the same time doing, you know, non-effective damage to him. But that rounding that comes in with the, you know, 1.5x stab bonus is relevant, and it leads to us actually taking a couple more levels on average in order to get through that fight. So we're just gonna have to see how much we have to grind here. This is going to be a grind. I'm not going to super enjoy this, as I typically don't. I do not like grinding runs much at all. But I do know that at level 11, we were able to beat Brock's Geodude, and that is kind of the key. As long as we can beat the Geodude, we can just avoid fighting Rival 1A in this, so we won't have to go up against the Jolteon. We can just keep him with the Flareon, which we will have a 4 times resistance to, which is good. But here we have destroyed everything in Viridian Forest very easily. We're going to pop right up here to heal up. And now let's go ahead and make our way into Brocky Boy's gym. I'm going to fight Lightyear's boy first. Of course, let's just get the extra XP while it's here. And this shouldn't be a tough fight by any means. Like, I don't think this is one where we can really lose. Like, we could sit here and spam agility, I guess, until we died, but that wouldn't really benefit us, I don't think. Because we're going to level up, even if we don't hit level 11 right here, which we do not. I still think we can get through good old Brocky Boy, or at least his Geodude. And then it's just a matter of grinding. Grinding. So let's see. Let's just see if this works. So here, first things first, there are no badge boosts in attack yet, so we're just gonna spam Wing Attack over and over again. It looks like we're doing basically 3 damage per hit here, 2 to 3 damage per hit, and he's doing like, you know, 2 damage per hit to us. So we are going to get through the Geodude even at level 10. This is not an issue. Now it all comes down to the luck on the Onix. If he uses Tackle a lot and uses, you know, non-damaging moves, we're basically good. So we're just gonna keep grinding until we find a way through this fight. So we're just whittling it down. I mean, we're doing 3 damage per hit, so he's like a 10-hit KO, but it just doesn't really matter when we're so bulky. Okay, but we are slowly whittling him down. Nice. We actually like the Bide spam, as tedious as it is. Like, this is worse than rap strats to me, the Bide spam. you know, where you're just sitting here like, okay, he used Bide again. Now we can't attack him. You know, he's Biden. There we go. Can attack him again. He hasn't used a lot of screeches on us, which is good. And he hasn't used a lot of binds up to this point. So we still have decent HP. So we're just going to spam the agilities here. Ooh, are we going to get through on this one? At this point, I think we just go all in. He's only got 2 HP. And there we go. All right, we get through Brock. Man, that only took 15 minutes. It was faster than Gyarados, which does make sense yet again because of the fact that we're a rock type. We don't take much damage from his moves. It's just incredibly tedious to knock him out. So even in my first test run, I managed to beat Brock at level 13 with Dragon Aerodactyl. But the real question is, how does that match up to a normal Aerodactyl? Well, not very well, because a normal Aerodactyl with its same type attack bonus and wing attack manages to beat Brock at level 10, 3 levels lower than we were able to beat him with a Dragon Aerodactyl. We can already see a disadvantage forming in this run. With that being said, Dractyl might have a chance to make up some ground in this second gym, because a normal Aerodactyl gets completely destroyed by Misty's bubble beams and water guns, whereas Dractyl's only going to be neutrally affected by them. But let's see if it gets through at a lower level than a normal Aerodactyl. So now we're just going to run over here to the east of Pewter City, and all of these trainers should just basically be nothing. We resist normal type moves, we resist poison type moves. We've got super effective moves against the bugs. This should just be easy. But what we're going to do here, we're going to be a little bit more liberal about taking optional battles, just because we know that we need them for the Misty section. And when I say we know that we need them, I mean in the previous run, I grinded this quite a bit and found it wasn't until level 26 that we were actually able to beat her. So I am going to fight this bug catcher. He actually gives relatively decent XP for this section, just given that he's got a bunch of bugs that are easy to KO, plus we've got a super effective move. We will probably fight the grass last inside of Mount Moon as well. So here, let's get to the grass last. We're going to just beat her up because we can. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at these grassy girls go down. Get to level 16 right there. Like I said, we just need the extra XP anyway, so who cares? Going to just hold down auto A on wing attack. Now, it is kind of bad that we have to use wing attack on this Voltorb. It's not going to do any damage. He's going to just sit here and screech at us and use tackle on us. It's not like he does much damage though. Out comes coughing. We can just continue. Oh, we get poisoned. Oh no. Rip. The end of the run. Rip. So here we're just going to knock him out. Very nice. Going to just heal quickly with a potion, pop the antidote. Let's get the Dome fossil. I would rather have Lord Dome right here. But now we can fight Jesse and James. I didn't save before this, which might have been a mistake, but this is fine. I'm sure it's all fine. Here we get poisoned by Poison Sting. That's actually like the worst thing that could happen to us. Scratch and Bite, fortunately, aren't going to do too much. Growl Mist, that is also very good. Keeps our attack stat nice and high. And yeah, let's just whittle this guy down. So there we go. Cool. We managed to beat Jesse and James. Apologies in advance for some flashing lights on the screen as we go. Everybody blame your epilepsy and eye problems on me. Here I am, the blind guy with keratoconus, and I'm complaining about, you know, eye damage. Oh, you guys. I'm sorry. Everybody blinded by RBY Pokemon challenges. Let's go. Let's fight Rival 2. This should not be a tough fight, I don't think. So here, we're here at level 17. His Peck is doing basically nothing. Now, the Sandshrew could be trolly if we get a bunch of sand attacks. So, oh yeah. Look at this. Look at this. But we only get one sand attack, and we get through. Fortunately, Rattata doesn't have anything super great. He knows Hyper Fang, but we two-shot him. And now Eevee giving us some tail whips, but those are badge boosts. So we just need to land one more hit. Come on, one more hit. There we go. So easy game, guys. Oh no, we've run out of PP. No, now I'm stuck using agility. We might lose this fight. If we lose this fight, it's not actually the end of the world. We'll just go back to the Pokemon Center. Oh, I should have managed my PP better. That's, you know, sometimes you meet a nice last and you don't manage your PP well, you know, and then you lose. Okay, here, Mankey. He doesn't low kick us. Very nice. We easily win. we would be weak to fighting type moves. Keep that in mind. We do not have neutral effectiveness to fighting anymore. Let's come over here and fight this the very last trainer before we get to Billy Boy's house and ask him, what have you been doing while we were out? Very nice. So here we can pick up this ether right next to her, and Billy Boy, he done made himself a Pokemon, guys. He was like, I like the Eevee too much. I wanted to be it. We were like, no, you can't be Eevee. Come on. So what the heck? For the sake of the final video, I will fight Misty one time right here, just to show why we get wrecked. Misty attempt number 1. Okay, so here we are. First attempt against Misty. We are going to use Wing Attack, which is enough to 2-shot there. Now we can Wing Attack on the Starmie, but we can see, even though it's the game's saying it's not very effective, that Water Gun is just way too strong. The Bubble Beam completely destroyed us. We lose this fight. Okay, so with that, we are just going to run down to Vermilion. This just makes too much sense. Now, we got to be selective about who we fight in here. These guys have smart AI, so they will use the best moves every time, or at least try to use the best moves every time. But let's go fight the old man down in the basement so that we can get that extra rare candy. This guy. Yes, your dogs. They're a barking, I know. And here comes Ponyta. My little pony never had a chance, guys. We resist fire. This is good. So there we go. We can get that rare candy. I am going to pop a max potion. And here, let's take on rival number 3. Let's see how this guy goes. So rival number 3 should basically be the same as rival 2. Like, he doesn't have any effective moves against us. So that's an easy win. Here, Rattata is a 2-hit KO. Sandshrews the only one we really kind of worry about just because we don't want the sand attacks. He goes Slash, that's perfectly fine. Get to level 26 right there, and now we get a beat up on this Eevee. Very good. Very, very good. Just what we wanted. Back to Misty. Misty round 2. Let's see how she goes. So here, coming back at level 26, we now are in a position to not quite 2-shot the Staryu. Against Starmie, I think this is all going to come down to crit luck. She X defense right there, and we got her. Very nice. So level 26, yet again, we have verified, just like in our first attempt with this Pokemon, is the correct level to be able to get through there without too much issue. So it is in fact possible to beat Misty at a lower level than level 26. I beat her at level 22 in my original test run with a normal Aerodactyl. It just comes down to critical hit luck and hopefully getting that X defend at the right moment. If you can get that level of luck, you can knock her out. It's just not consistent by any means. On the other hand, my testing suggests that it becomes much more consistent around level 25-26. So up to this point, Dragon Aerodactyl is a little bit worse on Brock, it's about the same on Misty, but we might finally be reaching a point where it's going to get an advantage. Because a normal Aerodactyl would never want to go and fight Lieutenant Surge immediately. Those super effective Thunderbolts can absolutely destroy it. Whereas a Dragon Aerodactyl is only neutrally affected by electric moves. That might just give us a chance. Let's see how this goes. First things first, I'm going to agility once he missed a growl, and we just did 8 damage. That means he's a 10-hit KO here with our wing attack. So critical hits do come into play. The Mega Punch did a lot of damage. Did a lot of damage again. He's getting the crits. We got a crit right there. That was nice. Now Thunderbolt did very good damage. Mega Punch does good damage. He misses the Mega Kick. He misses another Mega Kick. Lieutenant Surge loses to Dactyl on the first attempt. Oh, Lieutenant Surge, you were not cut out to be a Pokemon trainer. Oh, he's bad, guys. He's bad. Just completely destroyed him with Dactyl. So the next rock tunnel section should, in theory, be a little bit easier for a Dragon Aerodactyl, because we no longer have a weakness to rock type moves. And while Rock Throw is only 65% accurate, it can knock out a normal Aerodactyl in this section. So here we can pop right here and fight against this trainer. So Bone Club just does massive damage is the problem. Like, look at that. Look how much damage we took. So even at this level, we're just not really getting through this fight. Technically, we can try to fight these hikers just because we're not super scared of their Geodude. Like, we're not weak to rock type moves. So if he decides to self-destruct, it's not the end of the world. His Onix comes out, we can just sit here and grind. It's going to take a few turns, but eventually we will knock this one out. Cool. So now we've gained a couple levels. Let's go back and see if we can now beat, at level 30, that Pokemaniac. So here, okay, we get a nice couple Bone Club misses. So those helped us get through there. Still doing decent damage. Confusion does really good damage to us. But there we go. We do manage to beat that Pokemaniac. We're going to need to heal. So here we can see that we've just traded a weakness to rock for a weakness to ground. And in many ways, the ground type weakness could prove to be even more difficult as we go further in the game. And a big factor here is the fact that we do not have a great defense stat in spite of the fact that we're a rock type, which means that physical moves still do decent damage against an Aerodactyl. Case in point, the Rock Tunnel Hiker, who completely destroyed normal Aerodactyl. Let's see how it goes with our Dractyl here. But here we can take on the Rock Tunnel Hiker, the infamous dude himself. I'm using agility in order to get badge boosts and defense, so his self-destructs are doing basically nothing, and now we can try to whittle him down with our badge boosts. That is the one benefit of beating Lieutenant Surge before you come in here, is that you can now badge boost up in defense as well as in attack. So here we can now move on to Celadon City. We get to learn Fly on this Pokemon, basically our best coverage move. Does give us an invulnerable turn up in the air. We don't really fear Swift. I mean, if they want to Swift against us, good luck. I'm just saying, use that Swift all you want, buddy, because Dractyl don't care. But here, let's go take on Erica. Let's just try Erica one time, especially because we don't have anything good. And we now know Fly, so we have a super effective move. So here, let's save the game. Let's try to fight Erica now at level 33. Let's just see if it works or not. So here we go. Round one against Erica. Going to go Fly. And it's not quite a one-hitter with a crit, so we'll use Wing Attack to finish Tangela off. Here... Oops, I did not mean to use Supersonic. Fly. Critical hit one-shots there. Very nice. Get to level 34. And another critical hit to one-shot the Gloom. That's what we're talking about. That 25% crit rate coming in clutch. Oh, that's the way we're going to get through, guys. It has to be all about the critical hits. That's the only way we stand a chance. So it turns out that Dractyl beat Erica at exactly the same level as a normal Aerodactyl, in spite of the fact that it doesn't have the same type attack bonus in Fly. But next up is Koga, another trainer who has Pokemon that are all weak to flying type moves, but this might be one where our lack of a same type attack bonus actually matters. Normal Aerodactyl gets through at level 35, but how about Dractyl? So here we're going to take on Jesse and James. This should not be a terribly difficult fight. Let's just spam some Fly here. It's going to be a two-hitter there on the Coughing. Meowth, easy one-hit KO. Now on the Ekans, one-hit KO, easy win. Get to level 35. And let's just save the game and try Giovanni. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to confuse the Onix, which is just going to spam Rock Throw on us over and over again. Now I'm going to spam Agility for some badge boosts in defense. So now we can go Fly. He's no longer confused, but we're doing more damage. And here we do knock him out. Very nice. I think we still try to confuse Rhyhorn. Hits itself in confusion. That's just helping us get fewer turns needed to knock it out. Cool. And now on Persian, we don't really fear anything from Persian, so we're just going to Fly, and knock him out. Very nice. It is time to take on rival number 4. This shouldn't be a terribly hard fight, but let's just see. So here first against the Firo, I think this is a good spot to just set up a bunch of agilities. He's going for Growl a bunch. Here we should have learned Double Edge. That would help a lot here. Here Shelder's just going to spam Withdraw over and over again. But I think Fly still is the play. Crits, of course, ignore all stat changes in Gen 1. Here we'll Wing Attack to try to knock that one out. And now I'm just going to spam Wing Attack here. We get a nice crit there. Easy win. Cool. Get to level 36, and we have beaten rival number 4. Rare Candy, and now Ghosty Mama time. We're going to confuse Ghosty Mama. Set up some agility, because she likes that Bone Club. So there, Fly did decent damage, and the next Fly should finish that one off. It does. Cool. So Jesse and James, not terribly scary, I don't think. I think we just beat them. But let's sit here and just spam Fly, I guess. So here we can just continue spamming Fly. Easily knock that one out. Okay, Wheezing comes out. Problem is that we are paralyzed. But we are landing some Flies here. Let's just Wing Attack to finish this one off, hopefully. And there we go. 2 Wing Attacks does the job. Jesse and James go down. Cool. So we have made it here at 1 hour and 2 minutes. We have just saved Mr. Fuji. That's basically the same time that Charizard, Dragon Charizard that is, beat the entire game. So this is not looking great. No matter how we slice it, this just isn't looking great. I'm going to learn TM10 here because I do think that it is a legit upgrade over our current moveset. We'll go ahead and learn that over Wing Attack. And now we just have no choice. We got to go down either to Koga or we have to go fight rival number 5. So here, Hyper Potion time. Save the game. Let's take the first attempt against Koga. So here, let's take the first attempt against Koga where we're going to go Fly right here. And we get a critical hit. Very nice. We get to learn Bite via level up. I'm not going to learn it. I think Double Edge is better. Fly right here. We knock that one out. Fly here. And we get Sleep Powdered. We immediately wake up though. So that was good. Very nice. Now we outspeed the Venomoth. Wait a second. Oh, we get through on the first attempt against Koga at level 38. Are you kidding me? Yes. Yes. That really wasn't that bad. Oh, we just got such good range there. He didn't... The crits plus the fact that he didn't keep us asleep for a long time were the key. Otherwise, he spams psychic moves and he just destroys us. So, you know, it's kind of hit and miss with that fight. That being said, what I can say definitively is that that was a lucky range. But we can also see with how much damage Fly was doing, if you multiplied the damage of Fly by 1.5 against him, well, then we just sweep through all of those Venonats easily. And we always get to Venomoth, and then it's just a matter of, you know, surviving a psychic, you know, getting an X attack, whatever it is. So it turns out that because of Aerodactyl's massive attack stat and good speed, the Koga fight and Erica fights really weren't any different for our Dragon Aerodactyl compared to our Flying Aerodactyl, in spite of the fact that we didn't have a same type attack bonus in Fly. We basically get through at very similar levels without much difference in luck. But now we're actually entering a part of the game where I think Dragon Aerodactyl will gain an advantage. You see, against Rival 5, he usually has 2 Pokemon that have super effective moves against an Aerodactyl. His Cloyster and his Magneton. But in this case, we only really have to worry about the Cloyster, and we only actually really need to worry about Aurora Beam from the Cloyster since Clamp is technically neutrally effective against a Dragon Aerodactyl. He will still use Clamp because Water being super effective against Rock comes up before Water being not very effective against Dragon in the type effectiveness calculation that the game does. So while a normal Aerodactyl can beat Rival 5 at level 40 after a massive number of resets, we might be able to get through at a lower level with our Dragon Aerodactyl. And then after that, we're going to move on to the Blaine fight. And the Blaine fight is another spot where we might get a massive advantage, because while a normal Aerodactyl takes half damage from fire moves, it still has a really low special stat. On the other hand, our Dragon Aerodactyl is going to be 4 times resistance to fire type moves. And since a normal Aerodactyl takes level 45 with a lot of resetting and luck to get through Blaine, we might just be able to improve on this with Dractyl. So So here I'm going to pop right up into Blaine's gym. Let's just solve the puzzles here. We're going to avoid any of these battles and just try to get to Blaine himself and see if we can beat him at our current level. Okay, so answer yes there, answer no. Tombstoner Brothers, we have made it to the Blaine fight. Let's go. All right, let's try Blaine attempt number 1. First things first, I'm going to try to confuse Ninetales. Flamethrower got a critical hit and did a lot of damage, but I'm going to use agility in order to get some badge boosts. Oh, and now he confuses me. No, it's not what you were supposed to do. So here we're no longer confused. Now we get confused again. And I think we're going to die on the first attempt. RIP. So no first attempt victories there. Let's try a second attempt. So here, once again, I want to use Supersonic on him. And I want to use agility on him. Okay. Hits himself in confusion. Double Edge does decent damage there. It's just Double Edge here. He stomps. Now, Stomp, of course, with us being at such low health, means that we can't sit here and try to use whatchamacall, Double Edge anymore, because we would knock ourselves out in confusion. So here, agility, agility, agility. And we can just see our level is too low at this point. We just don't get through that fight. So it's pretty obvious we need to grind more levels before we can move on. So then the next question is, can we beat rival number 5? Well, let's test that out as well. So attempt number 1. First things first, I am going to try to supersonic him just because I want to be able to set up my agilities. He's confused. Nice. Yes, be confused. Let's go fly here. And let's just give him another fly. Oh, it's not quite enough. We get 1 accuracy drop there too. And we lose our badge boost. That's terrible. Now he's going with draw. Now he goes clamp, which is neutrally effective, but it's still more than enough to knock us out. So we can yet again see that that's not really a fight that's going to work. So this is a spot where yet again, I think the best solution is to fight some optional battles. Here at level 48, if we're still not getting through this one, we will go back and try rival 5 again. I know we've gone through a damage rounding threshold since then at level 45, but you know, don't think we're getting through just yet. But we're able to get through Rapidash there, get to level 48 right here. We have no badge boost, but we did get a crit and a second crit. So at level 48, we finally beat Blaine. I'm pretty sure that's the same as in my previous test run. So we didn't get any real improvement here. The only improvement maybe is time at 1 hour and 31. But we still know that we're probably going to have to gain a bunch more levels than this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grind against rival 5. We have a badge boost in special now, so we should be a little bit more survivable. But let's see if this actually works or not. So here we're just going to go all in on knocking this first Pokemon out. Let's try to knock the second Pokemon out. We get a nice critical hit there. Magneton, another Pokemon against whom Double Edge is really the only solution. We want to one-shot the Kadabra there. Nice. I'm going to fly here if I can. And we knock ourselves out in confusion. So that was probably a winnable fight. It does require the Oyster to use withdraw there, and we did get some lucky critical hits in there, but maybe this can work. But it's clearly not consistent, right? That's the other piece of the puzzle, part of the equation, guys. It's just not consistent. You know, our best move involves us taking recoil, so we're basically like a fighting type, you know, stuck using submission. Here we get to level 51. We lost a lot of HP there. Let's fly on Kadabra yet again. Let's fly on Flareon. And there we get a critical hit. So we finally beat Rival 5 at level 51. That is bad. I'm sorry. There's just no saving grace for this one. So it turns out in the end that our Dragon Aerodactyl actually needed a higher level to beat both Blaine and rival number 5, in spite of its inherent type advantages against key opponents. But there are actually a couple reasons for this. The first reason is because in the normal Aerodactyl run, I actually went the route of getting the Hyper Beam TM, so I had a much stronger move to use to knock out my opponents rather than having to rely on double edge strats. I decided not to go that route in the final Dragon Aerodactyl run because A, we're going to get Hyper Beam anyway via level up eventually, and B, I already knew from the normal Aerodactyl run and from the first test run of Dragon Aerodactyl that I was going to need a significant amount of level grinding anyway. So I simply took this opportunity to grind against Blaine and Rival 5, who give very good XP for this point of the game, in order to get some of those extra levels that we'll need later on. But the second reason is because in my first test runs, such as with the normal Aerodactyl, I tend to try to reset more often rather than just going and trying to level up. I want to see what the ranges are and whether or not it's possible at a given level. Whereas for a final run, especially when you're trying to optimize time, it's far more time efficient to just grind extra levels when you know you're going to need them anyway, rather than just resetting for ridiculous luck. So while Dractyl is at a higher level at this point, it was faster and arguably much more consistent in the fights that it actually managed to win. But that might be about to change as we go into the last two gyms. While Sabrina really shouldn't be too different for these two Pokemon, it's really the Giovanni fight that I'm worried about. A normal Aerodactyl is completely immune to Giovanni's ground type moves, whereas our Dractyl is going to be facing super effective earthquakes from everything except the Persian. Add on to that the fact that Aerodactyl doesn't learn any moves that are good against the Rhydon, so we're going to have to go mimic strats with Earthquake. This could turn out to be terrible. So while a flying Aerodactyl beat Giovanni at level 47 with some insane luck, we might not get anywhere close to that with Dractyl. So here now, let's go ahead and just Hyper Potion up again, open the room with the card key, and let's fight Giovanni. Yay! Giovanni time! So he's going to want to double kick us, so I'm just going to knock these Pokemon out as quickly as possible. Here's where I'm going to spam some agilities in order to get some badge boosts. Now let's fly. I mean, everything's resisted here, so I don't want to waste a bunch of HP by using double edge. So we knock him out, very nice. Now I think we double edge on the Nidoqueen, get a nice crit, but it didn't quite knock it out. So second turn knocks out the Nidoqueen, and there we go. We've gotten through Giovanni. So here, first things first, let's take on Sabrina. This is a spot where I'm actually going to change my moveset. We're going to learn Swift. So here, the entire logic against Sabrina is to let her badge boost us. So we're just going to sit here and spam agility over and over and over again and let her use Flash on us until we get to -6 accuracy. So now we can see that we have massive speed, we've got a massive attack stat, and Swift is guaranteed to hit. So here we can just start sweeping through her team. And look at that. Sabrina, cakewalk. Easy, easy, easy win, especially when you're here at level 52. So now let's go get our Pokédoll because we're going to need it. And let's come up here to this little girl's room and say, hey, here's a dolly. Give me that TM. You don't need that TM. I need that TM. And it's really, this fight's not about speed, right? This fight is all about the lack of moveset. So we're going to try him once with our current moveset just to demonstrate that it doesn't work. Let's go. So here, first attempt against Giovanni. I'm going to double edge there against Dugtrio. Okay, an Earthquake is super effective and it one-hit KOs me. We did not one-hit KO him and he one-hit KO'd us. In spite of our massive attack stat and being at a higher level, double edge just isn't quite strong enough. Now he digs. We can actually use Swift that turn to knock him out. Double edge is going to do decent damage here. We can even start spamming agility here to get badge boosts. And there we can knock that one out. Here against Nidoqueen, she double kicks us and we lose. So here I'm going to heal up. And now we're going to demonstrate a better strategy, of course, which is to use Mimic. Now, this isn't a great strategy. It's not super consistent, but the reason for the Mimic Fissure strat is that it's guaranteed to one-hit KO his Pokemon once we get the move. So here we're going to Mimic Fissure. There he dug, so we're going to Fly and hit him with Fly the next turn, and then a Hyper Beam. Nice. We're going to Fly right here to hit this Persian. Now we're going to hit it with a Hyper Beam to just finish it off. Nice. Fissure on the Nidoqueen. Very nice. Level up to level 55. We missed the first Fissure. Hit the second Fissure on Nidoking. We're 2 Rhydon. And there is the Fissure at level 55. We have beaten Giovanni. Is it consistent? No. But it didn't take that many attempts to get through. And mimicking Fissure is a strategy that's actually very good against Giovanni in Pokemon Yellow. Because as long as you can outspeed him, especially outspeeding the final Rhydon, you can get away with that move. That's actually how I beat the game on minimum battles with a Pikachu, was by mimicking Fissure and using the fact that I was faster and I could just spam Fissure over and over again in order to knock out all of his Pokemon. So here, now let's move on to rival number 6. This one's not going to be great, but let's just see how it actually goes. Let's go Fly right here on the Execute. Nice. And then Mimic Clamp. So he Aurora Beams me, that's fine. We're basically playing on the fact that he doesn't have great special and we're at a higher level in order to just get him in a range where we think we can maybe knock him out with a Hyper Beam, but we just knock him out with Clamps, which is fine too. Here, Hyper Beam is not quite a one-hitter on Magneton, but we saw the basic strategy there. So here, let's try this again. Let's just go for one Fly here. Let's go for a Hyper Beam. Let's see if we get it. There we go. Yes. We'll waste less time. At level 57 now, we one-shot there. And now let's Mimic Clamp. Okay, he withdraws. He misses his Clamp. This is all very good. Now, we don't have any badge boost set up, so our Clamp isn't quite as strong here. But here, let's just Hyper Beam him down. Nice. Magneton, get clamped. Now we can Hyper Beam him. Now against Kadabra, come on, Hyper Beam. Yes, yes. Flareon, get Hyper Beamed. Oh, look at that. So we finally get through at level 57. That is a couple levels lower than I got through last time. So we did manage to beat Rival 5 at a lower level with our second run of Dragon Aerodactyl, though that's partially due to the fact that in the first test run that I did with this Pokemon, I went up against the Jolteon team, which is generally considered to be the strongest team that the rival can have. And in any case, it was 10 levels worse than what I beat him with a normal Aerodactyl, all the way down at level 47 in that one. But now going into the league, it's time to find out once and for all if a Rock Dragon Aerodactyl is actually worse than a normal Aerodactyl. Our normal Aerodactyl in my test run was able to beat the champion at level 67, but it required a lot of resetting in order to win at that level. My first run with Dragon Aerodactyl, on the other hand, was still inconsistent against the champion at level 78. Albeit against the Jolteon team, there were a lot of runs that I lost simply due to a critical hit Thunder at the very end. But even at that high level, we were not one-hit KOing the Sandslash at the very beginning of the fight, and it always wants to use Earthquake because we are a Rock Dragon type. So the question is there a strategy that allows us to beat the champion at a lower level and make this at least somewhat competitive? We have to beat the champion gaining less than 10 levels if we're going to beat a normal Aerodactyl in this one. It might just be impossible, but we've saved all our rare candies just for this situation, so let's see how it goes. So here, first turn, I'm actually going to go Fly, because there's a decent chance that she will go Rest on turn 2. She doesn't go Rest here, but we can actually steal Rest off of this Pokemon as well. So we lost the first attempt. It's kind of standard, but let's try this again. We'll Fly. She Bubble Beams, which is much better than getting clamped. or getting aurora beamed. Here, let's mimic clamp again. She goes clamp, which is kind of ideal. We prefer her to use clamp rather than ice beam, that's for sure. Okay, mimic clamp, ice beam comes in. Let's clamp him down. Come on. There we go. Let's go for some clamps right here on the Slowbro. Let's get in a range where now I think Hyper Beam one-shots. It does. Hyper Beam should one-shot there on Jinx. And now let's go for the clamp strats here on this Lapras. We only have one Hyper Beam remaining, and we obviously need it on fairly low health for Hyper Beam to do the job. We've gotten her fairly low. Now Hyper Beam, there we go. Level 61 to beat Lorelei. So not great. Actually not completely terrible. But here I'm just going to slam a full restore. Let's save the game. Let's try Bruno. So here I'm going to first go agility. We don't even care about the rock slides. Slam, we care even less about. But then let's mimic dig and one shot. Nice. Here fly. Okay, we missed the fly, but they're okay. It is a one hit KO once it hits. Nice. Here this Onyx, we can just dig on it. Nice. And Machamp, we're going to fly. He X defense. That probably just allowed him to survive, but another fly does the job. There we go. So we easily beat good old Bruno. I mean, that's not, I think, news to anybody. Let's save the game. Let's try Agatha. So the strategy against Agatha, actually, the best strategy is to mimic substitute, with the logic being that a lot of the moves that she uses, like Supersonic and Confuse Ray, cannot affect you behind a substitute. And now it's just a matter of fly strats. So out comes Golbat. We're going to Hyper Beam here. Very nice. Haunter, we're just going to fly and easily knock that one out. Yes. Hyper Beam on the Arbok. Not going to be quite a one-hitter. We have to recharge, but that's fine. And now the final Gengar, we have the substitute up, so we know we can't be knocked out. And we can just fly here and easily knock her out. Agatha is a first attempt victory at this level. She just doesn't have any answer for substitute. And that's why one of the reasons why I feel like Mimic is a broken TM. The fact that you can just Mimic substitute and basically wreck Agatha from there with a lot of Pokemon, as long as you have a strong physical move or a super effective move, you're basically good. Just as long as you're not normal in fighting moves, you basically crush her at that point. It's kind of broken. Anyway, here we are against Lance, who is easily the toughest of these. So here, Lance attempt number one. I think the thing to do is to start by setting up the agilities. He's going to use Dragon Rage because he thinks it's super effective. Hydro Pump he also thinks is super effective, but it's not. It's only neutrally effective. So now we should be able to get through Gyarados there. We should be able to Hyper Beam here. We should be able to Hyper Beam here. Should be able to Hyper Beam, but we miss. The whole issue is that we either need to sweep with the Hyper Beams or we have to be able to mimic Ice Beam in order to make this one work. Okay, so there's the crit that we wanted on the Gyarados. Okay, we get paralyzed here. We don't care about the Thunderbolts. Hyper Beam will just knock that one out. Here we get a Mimic Ice Beam, so we get that. Here we can Hyper Beam that Pokemon down. Nice. Ice Beam on the Aerodactyl, one shot, nice. Ice Beam one shots the Dragonite. There we go, level 63 to get through Lance. So no rare candies up to this point at a lower level. So we're gonna full restore, of course. I'm going to drop an elixir right here as we go into the champion. Let's save the game. Let's just see how the champion fight goes. So here, first things first, I'm going to give a hyper beam to this Sandslash. And we're getting wrecked, but it looks like a critical hit here will one-shot the Sandslash. So here, hyper beam. Oh, the critical hit does not quite one hit. So this is an issue. Now I think we need to drop the rare candies. Because if we can one-shot the Sandslash, then I feel pretty good. So I'm going to go up to level 65 right here. Let's try this. Okay, there is the crit, one-hit KO there. Alakazam also gets one-hit KO'd. Now, I'm going to go for the Hypnosis strat. So he goes for Leech Seed, that's whatever. I'm going to set up Agility now while he's asleep. So we're getting badge boosts. And now I think we Fly. Fly is effectively almost as strong as Hyper Beam, but we can Hyper Beam him down. Here we have to Hyper Beam. Here we go Hypnosis. We miss the Hypnosis. And he's got the Leech Seed on, so that's not ideal. But there we do get him to sleep. Okay, we're going to lose a turn. And now we can Hyper Beam him. And now let's Hyper Beam there. And there we go, level 65. That is a 13 level improvement on my previous run, and we finished at 218. Was this run perfect? No, this run was not perfect at all. We ended up with 32 resets, 91 optional battles, 3 TMs and a broken TM. So I know people are going to ask, and I'll just say this right now. I will come back and test this Pokemon again with a more reasonable move pool, a move pool that it should have had. From Gen 2 onward, it learns Earthquake. It gets a rock type move in the form of Ancient Power, but I mean, we could just stand in Rock Slide for Gen 1. That's about basically the same thing, as close as we can get. I know Rock Slide has higher base power, but you know, I mean, it's also less accurate and doesn't have Omni Boost and all that. So, I mean, I think it's a pretty fair stand-in. If we give this Pokemon access to Rock Slide and Earthquake, it's going to have a much better performance than this. And then it puts it far more in line with a lot of these other Pokemon. But it's interesting to see that we beat the game at a lower level than Gyarados. And the time was worse, but, you know, it was... I mean, it was terrible. It was bad. It required Mimic strats. But we beat the game at basically the same level as Gyarados and basically the same level as the normal Aerodactyl, which is kind of interesting. I thought this one would actually come out to be much worse than normal Aerodactyl, given that it just loses all of its same type attack bonuses. But by the late game, Aerodactyl's not really playing on its same type attacks anyway. Flying moves aren't that good in Gen 1. I mean, it doesn't get access to any good flying moves. The best it gets is Fly. And so it just ends up spamming Hyper Beam, and it either KOs opponents with Hyper Beam or it doesn't. And the best strategy outside of that is to use the Mimic strats and just copy opponents' moves like Clamp, like Hypnosis, get them in a range and then knock them out. I don't know. Anyway, that's my word. You guys can debate with me, comment, tell me what you guys think. But this one did not feel good. This was not my favorite run by any means. I think the next one with Seadra is going to be a lot more interesting than this, personally. I'm interested to see how it stacks up against Gyarados. A Pokemon that's going to still get the Dragon Water type, but not get all the move pool, but get access to Agility and get access to Smokescreen, but not get access to, you know, as good as stats. How will it work? Let's find out. Anyway, that does it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Later.